if I can get back to you guys. Hi. So nice having everyone here. We're really happy to have you tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about 6 ways we can stay grounded using essential oils. We got 6 for you. So Michelle's going to teach you 3, and I'm going to teach you 3 ways that you can use essential oils to stay grounded. So I want to say thank you very, very much for everyone who's joining us on Zoom. And if you're joining us later on Facebook, please put a comment there so we know that you saw the class and what you thought about it. So we really appreciate having everyone with us now, and we're going to get wound up and start. First of all, I'm just going to ask everyone here on Zoom with me a question. What does it mean to be grounded? What does it mean to be grounded? Anybody have any thoughts? Feel free to tell me. What does it mean to be grounded? Feel free to speak up. Go ahead, Mary Lee.
I would think not let other people persuade you when you're sure of your conviction.
Okay, that's one. That's one way you can look at it. Anybody else? Go ahead, Pam.
To be firm.
Exactly. And we want to be grounded, it means to be balanced, to have clear thinking. This is what the essential oils are going to help us do. We're going to talk about essential oils for emotions tonight, how we can put our roots down and stay where we want to emotionally. I don't know about you all, but during COVID time, I had a really hard time. We were home all the time, and I had a hard time focusing. Like, I knew what I had to do, but I would sit on the couch and that was it. I just couldn't get moving. So I don't know if any of you dealt with anything like that, but when you know you have a job to do and you just can't focus on it, or your brain is just going everywhere and you can't focus, that's what we're really talking about, using essential oils to help us stay grounded. So obviously, a lot of the oils we're going to tell you about are tree oils, because trees are grounded. They have their roots, and they can actually help us naturally to do the same thing, to keep our emotions grounded. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth. Hopefully Rochelle's with me on this one, Miss Sunburnt, that I'll do an oil and then she'll do an oil, because we have 6 oils that we want to share with you. And I am going to start with sacred frankincense. How many of you all have sacred frankincense? Anybody have this? Pam has it. Anybody else have sacred? Mary Lee? I can't see everybody here. Let's see. Anyone else have sacred?
Dee has it.
Okay, and Jackie. Very good. So does anyone know the difference between sacred frankincense and frankincense?
The price.
The price is definitely different. There's a reason that I learned tonight. I didn't know this. I was doing research for this class, and I found out why the price is different. Well, interestingly, sacred frankincense, it's a different variety of frankincense. There's tons of different varieties of frankincense, but this particular little gem right here, sacred frankincense, was only available to the sultans of Oman. And Gary Young built a relationship with the sultans so that he had access to their trees to be able to get us sacred frankincense. So Young Living is the only essential oil company that has this variety of frankincense. It also is from now, after a while, what Gary was able to do is he took some of the sacred frankincense trees, planted them in Israel, and they're growing in Israel on a Young Living farm. So this is it was only for royalty in the past. So that's one reason that the price is so different. So this is an oil that can help our emotions to stay grounded, sacred frankincense. Let me just go ahead and show you some differences, because I found it very interesting. What are the differences between sacred frankincense and frankincense itself? So I have a graphic for you if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it here. I missed my original graphic. Let me show you my original graphic. This is what we really wanted to start the class with. Is this how you feel? If you feel like that, then this is a class for you because we definitely don't want to go around life emotionally feeling like that. Okay, so this is the oil that I'm going to share with you guys right now that I showed you here, but it's sacred frankincense. And this is what it looks like. This is Young Living's sacred frankincense. So what's the difference between the normal variety of frankincense and sacred frankincense? The Young Living normal frankincense comes from the Boswellia Cartier tree. Sacred frankincense is Boswellia sacra, and that's where the name sacred frankincense comes from. See, they're different. They come from different places. The normal frankincense comes from Somalia, and the sacred frankincense comes from Oman. That's where the sultans had it there. And now Israel too. Young Living has a farm there. They tried to bring the trees over here to be able to have them somewhere else on earth, not just in the Middle East, but they found out that the plants love the dry, arid soil, that they would not grow in a rich soil. So that's why our frankincense is from over in Africa there in Somalia and Oman. You can see the difference in the constituents. The alpha pinene and the limonene is a little bit different. So the scent of the sacred frankincense is softer and sweeter. And as you can see, they're grounding. But the sacred frankincense to a higher point. Why is the sacred frankincense better for grounding than frankincense itself? They both work, but sacred frankincense has smaller molecules. So they go right to the emotional center of the brain much quicker than frankincense. So that's why we're talking about sacred frankincense for those feelings of clarity, grounding. And I think that's all I have to tell you. The hypothalamus is reached very fast with sacred frankincense. So it hits those emotions. And what does that help us do? Let me just add a little something here before I turn it over to Rochelle. But when you're able to hit your emotions so quickly, you have a better ability to learn. You have a better ability to make decisions. You have more clarity. Also, these oils are really good for a healthy response to inflammation and calming for your nerves. But sacred frankincense gets the prize here for the potential to help us be grounded. So that's my first oil for you. So let me go ahead and turn it over to Miss Sunburn.
Okay, hi everybody. All right, so my first oil is the Sacred Mountain. And if you live in our area, and that would be myself, Dee Cavallero, and Jacqueline, there is a street in Brentwood, just across the bridge from you guys. It's called Sacred Mountain. So I made a reel, just dropped my Sacred Mountain. I made a reel and I had the Sacred Mountain with me with the Sacred Mountain. So there's that. So I wanted to start off by sharing, oh no, it's doing it, isn't it? Am I frozen? Can you still hear me?
Oh, you're back.
Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so we're gonna make this somewhat quick. So I do have some graphics for you about Sacred Mountain. Sacred Mountain is a blend. And let me share with you some of the information that I found about Sacred Mountain. Sacred Mountain is a blend of, oh boy, I tell you, when you really need things to be cooperative, they're just not. All right, let me find what I'm looking for here. Come on. A blend. There we go. Okay. Everybody just, how's everyone's day?
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted.
No, 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 no.
Stop it.
No.
All right. You're terrible. You're
Joanne.
absolutely terrible. All right. I'm trying to pull up my graphic here for you. I do apologize. There we go. Let's try this. Here we go. This is what happens when you switch your space. All right, so I'm really hoping you guys can see that.
Yep.
Can you see the entire picture? Okay. All right, so Sacred Mountain, again, it is a spruce and ylang ylang, which I love because it's all about calming and neutralizing emotions. The spruce does the same thing. Balsam fir, again, another tree. Cedarwood, another tree. So you have these three trees, these firs, with the exception of cedarwood, but it's grounding. And so you put those three together. And one of the quotes that I found in regards to Sacred Mountain is, it makes you think of that you're in the mountains and you're smelling the pine trees or just open mountain air. And so again, it gives you feelings of being grounded. And the expression being grounded to me makes me think if I'm standing on a ledge and I'm gonna leap. And so, but I'm not there. I'm literally on the ground. So my feet are firmly planted. I'm not going anywhere. So I have feelings of strength, empowerment. It makes you feel as if, you know, you have things that are a little bit more within your control, but you also have some emotional balance, but then some emotional strength. And when you look at maybe what's been going on in the world for the last 3 years, it makes you feel, you know, a bit unsteady on your feet. And so some people, you know, that's some of the expressions that I've been hearing. They're just feeling a little bit like that. Their nerves are on edge and they just feeling just really unsteady. And Sacred Mountain is more grounding in that particular effect. It again, when you're dealing with items such as your fir trees, they deal a lot with emotional, your emotional state. And so you get the feeling of where you're not, again, not feeling unsteady, but things are a little bit more in your control. So not feeling like, you know, again, you want to leap right off the ledge, but again, more of empowerment, that you've got things that are a little bit more under your control. Again, I love the fact that Sacred Mountain is it's a really wonderful blend of the trees. Instead of having to diffuse or apply one that it might be your favorite, then you can try two. Cedarwood in particular is really great when you're dealing with assisting or supporting brain function, helping to release, in other words. So sometimes we might have a negative loop going on, and the cedarwood is very calming in that effect, where it will calm what's going on, that that negative loop that's inside your head, so that your focus is there and you're able to concentrate, especially maybe when you're meditating. That is really wonderful for that particular effect. And then also too, we've learned the benefits of ylang ylang. You know, it's about balance, and but also too, making sure that you feel like making sure that I stay within protocol, making sure that maybe your emotional state is just not one way or the other. Everything's out of whack. And so with ylang ylang, that's really one of the intended purposes, is to bring calm and balance back in. So now you pull those fir trees and the cedar wood and you put those together, they become, you know, our powerhouse grounding essential oil blend. So yeah, that is, I really love the effects that you get from Sacred Mountain. And later on, I'll be able to show you some diffuser blends that I found as well. And then there's some roller recipes that you can make and be able to just not only to inhale it, that aroma out of the bottle, apply it, the different ways in which you can apply it, and then diffusing it in the air, whether it's by itself or part of another, an actual recipe, a diffuser blend. So Chris, I'm gonna throw that back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go ahead and stop your sharing here so I can see everybody again. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you about another oil that all of you probably have. Most everybody here probably has this oil, but it's one of our grounding oils. Who has peace and calming? Who's got peace and calming? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. I think everybody here has this oil, peace and calming. Most everybody here has this oil, peace and calming. So I'm just going to open this up to you. Why do you like this oil? Let me get your input and then I'll tell you why you might like the oil. Anybody? Go ahead, Mary Lee.
I do what Pam always suggests. Like when I feel a lot of vexation, I put it in my palm of my hand, a drop or two, and then I tint and I just smell it.
Does it help?
Definitely, yeah, it does. I feel it does.
More grounded. Yeah. Whatever you had craziness going on, peace and calming really is a beautiful oil. Anybody else want to share how they've used this oil, peace and calming, or what they think about it?
Sometimes I need to take the whole bottle and put it on my head.
Okay. Actually, that's not a bad idea. You can take this and take a drop. You don't want to touch the top. Take a drop in your hand and you can actually put it on the crown. I don't do that because I've got so much hair. I don't think it's going to penetrate into my scalp. But your temples is another place you could put it. The back of your neck is another place. These grounding oils. You want to get it into your brain because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get grounded. Maybe behind your ears, you might think about that. But what is in here and what makes this part of our starter bundle? So that's why most of you have it. If you've got the premium starter bundle, you got this oil. Young Living wanted everyone to know this blend. This is one of their favorite blends. Inside of this is tangerine and orange. Those are happy oils. Citrus oils make us happy. So it has tangerine and orange in here. It has patchouli, which I don't like at all, but patchouli is so good for the body. What it does is it can energize your mind to focus on what it needs to focus on. Lang-a-lang also, lang-a-lang is an oil of love. So we want these caring, compassionate feelings when we are overwhelmed. So lang-a-lang. And what's interesting is Rochelle just told you all about Sacred Mountain, and I was examining what I'm going to tell you about next. Lang-a-lang is like a oil that is run through the grounding oils. These blends of grounding oils, most of them, they have tree oils, but lang-a-lang is in there also. So the oil I'm going to tell you guys about next is actually everything that's in Sacred Mountain, plus a few more oils that they've added to it. So peace and calming, I'm going to tell you a little story about peace and calming. Let me see, I have a graphic here too, if I can find it for you. Most of you know what peace and calming is. I have the big 15 mil, but this is the 5 mil that came with the premium starter bundle. This is to get you grounded, balanced, clarity in your thinking. So peace and calming, what is the oil of choice for many? I just did a class in person this week, and I presented the 2 oils for calm to my friends who were there. One was peace and calming, and the other is stress away. So I let everyone choose. I said, what's your favorite? And they all chose peace and calming. So peace and calming is more what our brains need these days. Also, when my husband was to go and give a part, he needed some calm going on because, he has a disease of his nervous system. So he really needed the calm. Peace and calming is the oil that he would go to. And yeah, you could see the nervous system responding to peace and calming. So this is one of our favorite oils for grounding, for being focused, for clear thinking, peace and calming. That's what I tell you about peace and calming, and I am turning it back over to Miss Sunburnt Crown.
Okay, so I have a question for Miss Essential Oils for Health. So I had 3 oils that I was doing, And the other one was peace and calming, and the other one was valor.
Oh,
So
Valor.
tell me, because I can still do valor, and then I can pick up whatever else that we need to do.
Oh, I thought you gave me peace and calming and grounding because I really don't know what you're doing. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
You
So
can
I
tell-
can do Copaiba and then
Yes.
Hi, gay.
valor. Okay, there we go.
Mhm.
Very good. Okay, so now let's talk about Valor. Valor is one of my favorites. Valor comes in the most starter kits, and I'm going to show you my bottle. Poor little thing, it's just run ragged, and I actually have quite a few of these. I've got a bag that I keep all of my bottles that are empty, and I had to go rummage through. Instead of having to leave the desk, I just grab my empty bottles, and then I grab this. And so Valor, it's wonderful. So this is a blend, and it actually comes in another blend called Valor 2. And I will say peace and calming comes in peace and calming 2 as well. It's different than peace and calming. It's nice, but it's not peace and calming. So it's like, oh, I'll just use, yeah, no. But what you'll find that both of these two have in common, the peace and calming and the valor, is they both have blue tansy, which is wonderful in its own right. So let's get into valor, and I'll show you some information that I found on that. So valor, and let's see if I can stall a little bit, only because I was ill prepared. Okay, here we go. So that's combinations. Here we go. So Valor, I'll share this with you. This might be a little large, but it'll give us just a couple little points about this particular blend. It's actually is known, look at my screen is acting up, as the chiropractor in the bottle. And so one of the first things I remember learning about Valor is actually that. But what humans have a tendency to do is they keep or maintain their stress in their neck and their shoulders. So you're always doing this. And, every week there's always some new challenge in the news. We hear the news and it causes anxiety and stress on a whole new level. And so we're constantly in a constant state of being in a tense motion. So applying the Valor to the back of your neck, your shoulders, especially when you lay down to go to sleep at night, is a wonderful way to start relaxing yourself.
I'm glad you told me that. I never knew how to use Valor.
Yes, so I love that. It's also, if I'm correct, I know Chris knows, it's also part of Gary's Happy Day protocol. And I believe that particular protocol, you apply it to your wrists.
Yes.
And when you're thinking in terms of maybe laying down to rest for the night, if you sleep with your hands like this, you're going to inhale the aroma and again, the effects of that blend. So let's get into a little bit of what you get and then some of the oils that are in it. So you're going to get emotional support, support in regards to helping you balance your emotions. If you have support that you need in regards to nerve endings that are popping off at any given moment, this is one. It's not really intended really for that. It's more emotionally grounding, but it's calming. It's the effects that you get, right? So let's say you've got something throbbing, right? Or things shooting and popping off. Valor, maybe if that's what you had nearby, if that's all you had, that's not a bad way to go. You add a little bit of peppermint along with that, or even some peace and calming, which I know that my mom, sorry about my video, my mom has used some Valor from time to time. And so that's, again, maybe it's not the first thing you think of when things are throbbing and shooting, but it has a calming effect. So it'll give you what you need, right? But we're talking about grounding our emotions, right? So let's talk about some of the oils that are actually in Valor. And I want to see if I can find.
Do you remember Paul always said that when he had a speech to give, he always used Valor before his
Valor.
speech?
That's right. The whole
Paul said
idea
that.
was Valor. It's about courage. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, it's so important that even the children's line, Kids Sense, they have their own version of Valor. And it's very similar, you know. Rosewood, you've got spruce, blue tansy, frankincense. And let me see, I think I'm missing one, so I'm gonna cheat and use my app. Here we go. Of course, it's not going to be a cooperative.
Yeah, I'm all set. I have 3 bottles of Peace and Calming here.
Really?
I mean, you know, I must be a nervous wreck over here.
No. Well, you know, I mean, let's just take the news. It's amazing. I try to be really I try to actually
Geranium, Northern Lights, black spruce, and camphor.
thank you. That's what I'm looking at right now. And it has the geranium. Did you get that? Frankincense, geranium, and camphor, which is interesting. I don't know all the details in regards to camphor, but I couldn't find it. You know how sometimes the oils, you can find them within Young Living's inventory, and that wasn't one of them. So clearly there's a proprietary trademark there. And so they get it from somewhere, but I'm not privy to how that works. But the Northern Lights black spruce, again, one of the trees, wonderful for grounding and you relieving emotional flushing, unblocking, balancing, courage. So you've got that. And then you have blue tansy, which is also in the Peace and Calming. And this one is wonderful. The therapeutic effects have to do with hormones and your nerves. So that's blue tansy. So you've got that along with the Peace and Calming, and then you have Valor. And then one of the other ones is frankincense. And so Chris had talked about frankincense, and frankincense again is regenerative. It's wonderful for calming your muscles, emotional support, calming, very soothing. And that's frankincense, which, you know, I'll go back to Bible reading. I love, because, you know, when those men came in and they gave Mary, Joseph, and that gift of frankincense, she just had a baby. She's not at a 4-star hotel like Four Seasons. You know, she just gave birth. So frankincense was like right on time. It was such a valuable commodity at that point. So what a wonderful, beautiful gift for her to give, because there's so many other things that frankincense can do. So it's not just about the aroma, but the calming effect that you get. But then you've got the cleansing and the regenerative properties that you can get. And Young Living actually makes frankincense in a vitality line, so you can take it internally. So you have that. Not the Valor, not Valor, just frankincense. So let me be clear on that. And then the other oil that's in here is geranium. And these are not the geraniums that you might have in your garden, very different. And again, the therapeutic effects are muscle calming, cleansing, protective, regenerative, revitalizing, something that's definitely uplifting. So that's really geranium. That's what it does. So you take these oils and by themselves, wonderful, but then you put them together and you have this beautiful blend called Valor, which is really all about instilling courage and making you feel that you can relax and proceed with whatever it is that is going on, because that's usually what happens if you've got some fear and some anxiety and trepidation going on, you're going to tense up and you're not really going to want to move. And so Valor's little nickname, chiropractor in a bottle, you put a few drops, you can do the tent, which is, you know, I think it's undervalued what the tent does. You put a couple of drops of the Valor, right? And then you just make a tent and you inhale and you hold the breath for a few seconds, in through your nose, out through your mouth. You do that 3 or 4 times. Now it's going to penetrate your brain. And then you're going to apply a drop or 2 on your back of your neck and on your shoulders. And if you can relax,
Wow.
then you can proceed and get through whatever it is that you've got going on. And, you know, if let's say you're given a talk, that talk is 3 to 5 minutes. You know how it goes. And by the time you get done, now you're relaxed. But if you can relax a little bit before, then, you know, it'll go a little smoother for you. So you have that. So that is Valor. And I found some notes. I actually follow Young Living. They have a Pinterest page, but I picked up some notes that you have to be careful, because when I started to look at it, I'm like, no, that's not correct. That's wrong. And that's why I'll go to the app. There's a couple of apps. I can always put it in the chat, but our girl, oh man, now I can't think of her, Jennifer O'Sullivan is an expert in regards to the oils. And she also loves Young Living. That is her thing. And so I can trust the information that I get from her. And so, yeah, so that is Valor. It is wonderful. You think about when you pair, even though Valor has frankincense in it, and I learned this from a couple other ladies that are in the oil community, you pair it, and let's say you made a roller with Valor, frankincense, let's say you add more, and I think it was Stress Away. And although Valor and Stress Away are blends, it's like you've got all these oils and then you put them together. And the amount of grounding and relaxation you get becomes phenomenal. She is a mother, she's married, and she swears by that little roller and she loves it. And she makes it all the time. And that's when I really, truly, even though at that point I had been in Young Living for a couple months, I started to really understand, and I got to know Valor, you know, the benefits and the rewards that you get from using Valor. So that's all I have on Valor.
Perfect. So go ahead. I think Mary Lee wants to say something quick. Go ahead.
Rochelle, you were saying camphor. You're not familiar with camphor, but in Blackstone, Mass, we had flooding one time, and they made everybody in town go back to the drugstore and take a look. They gave you a little cube of camphor, and you put it in your neck, around your neck, in a little piece of what's that cloth that you can see the
Cheesecloth?
Yeah, cheesecloth. And you'd cap that camphor around your neck, and it was like to fight off infection, the camphor. But it's also for colds and things like that. It's used like a fix and
Okay, so we say
young-
those kind of words though, because we're not allowed.
yeah. Okay, but that one that I got, what is it, Chris? It's got 3 things: camphor, eucalyptus, and
Thieves chest rub.
chest
Oh,
rub.
got it.
Yeah, that's in there.
Oh.
That camphor.
That's
Yeah,
what,
but-
well, yeah, I love that, because I have, you know, you saying that, Mary Lee, makes me think of, I know when you started to say that about it being around your neck, I know I've heard my mom say that before. And I love the Thieves chest rub for that very reason. Yeah.
Cheesecloth. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah.
So camphor comes, it's distilled, the oil is from the camphor tree. There's a camphor tree. So that's where it comes from. So the last oil I am going to tell you ladies about tonight is called grounding. I get the star of the show because we're talking about grounding your emotions. So there is an entire oil blend called grounding. And what is really interesting, I didn't realize this till I was listening to Rochelle's part about Sacred Mountain. Well, Sacred Mountain has 4 ingredients, grounding has 7. So they are exactly the same ingredients, except they've added 3 more for grounding. And probably the proportion they have in here is a little different. So I'm going to give you guys a little test. If you happen to have these 2 oils around, I'd love to get your impression of, do they smell anything alike? I would love to get your impression. The sacred mountain compared to the grounding. Because all Young Living has done is added 3 more oils to get this emotional oil called grounding. So what's in it? Lang-a-lang. This is an oil of love that really is able to give us more confidence. When we're in that relaxed, confident state, we are able to make better decisions and we're able to think clearer. It also has spruce in here, which is a release oil. So spruce is in here, white fir is in here, another tree oil. Trees help us stay grounded. Pine is in here, which is a calming oil. Cedar wood is in here, which is oil that helps us feel more secure. I don't know about the rest of you, but I love to put cedar wood in my diffuser at night. It's probably the ability to help us sleep because we feel secure. Angelica is in here. Who knows Angelica? Anybody know the oil Angelica? Well, let me show you Angelica because we have a protocol class on how to be our happiest, and white Angelica is in that.
I have
But-
white Angelica.
Yep, that is not the same as Angelica. This is Angelica oil. White Angelica is actually a blend, but Angelica is just an oil by itself. So this is a beautiful, beautiful oil, Angelica, and it's in this oil grounding. This is one different that's not in Sacred Mountain. Juniper is in here, which is energizing oil. White fir is in here, which is an anchoring oil. It also helps stabilize your mood and stabilize your brain, your thinking. So there are 7 oils in here, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but 5 of those oils come from trees. So that's how trees help us stay grounded. How do you use this oil? You can use it on the back of your neck. You can use it on your temples. You want to get it into your emotional part of your brain so that you can be grounded. And this can also help us. What are the reasons you would want to use these 6 oils that we're telling you about? Well, Rochelle's got one more to tell you about, but when we feel stuck, that's what was happening to me when we were locked in the house. I was stuck. I just couldn't get things accomplished. That would be a time to go for these emotional grounding oils. Maybe you're not sure what decision to make. You need a little more focus in the brain. Go for these 6 oils that help you be grounded. What if you're just thinking all over the place or daydreaming? Again, is another time to grab these oils that can help you be focused. What if your emotions are just out of whack and you're like a little angry? You're not feeling exactly like you want to. Go for your grounding oils. What if you're really disappointed or just overwhelmed? Definitely another time to go for your grounding oils. But if you feel rejection or fearful, you're lost, you're confused, go for your grounding oils. All these are times that you want to go for these oils that help us be grounded emotionally because it helps us think more clearly, be balanced, and to feel like we have our act together. That's what we really want, that grounding. But Rochelle's got one more oil for you. But if any of you have the Sacred Mountain and or grounding, grab them and take a sniff and tell us what you think. All right, Rochelle, I'm handing it back over to you. You have them. So what do you think?
Well, it's interesting. The Sacred Mountain, it just smells like I'm outside. Like it reminds me of a certain plant in particular, but it's probably just pine or like up in the mountains, pine trees, right? And then the grounding is softer. It's just a softer version of that. That's the only way I can really describe it. But yeah, I really do feel like I'm outside in the trees. And the reason why I can honestly say that is because I live with 2 friends that cut up pieces of trees and use it for firewood. And we did that over the weekend. And it's very, very similar to what we had been cutting, So over in this particular area of the world, a lot of storms, wind, things are blowing down. And so we're able to capitalize off that and get their wood. So thank you for that.
I think it's probably smelling the angelica that's in grounding. I think it's the angelica that softens it up because it's a
Okay.
very soft oil. This
Yeah.
might. Okay, take it away.
Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this one oil. It is not a blend, and the following body systems are affected by this particular oil: cardiovascular, your respiratory system, your nervous system, muscles and bones, emotional balance. That's why we're here today, and your skin. So this one particular oil, as soon as my camera comes back into whack, come on, knock it off. I'm talking about Copaiba. And okay, there we go. Thank you. So Copaiba, when I first learned of it, a couple of things. Claudia, if you guys know Claudia, she talked a little bit about Copaiba, and I didn't really know that much about it. Copaiba does not come in the starter kit. I think at one point it did, but it doesn't now. But if you have children, babies, it needs to be in your little kit of things that will assist you while you're child rearing. But if you are an adult and you're over the age of 30 and you have things that you need support with that start to throb and shoot different types of effects, Copaiba, because the one thing that I learned and I will continue to use, it will magnify or intensify the effects of other oils. That's what I learned about Copaiba. So if I'm using Panaway, for instance, I'm going to also throw it. That was my first instance, a drop of Panaway and a drop of Copaiba on my knee that needed some support for throbbing and shooting things. And next thing you know, I forgot my conversation about that. And 5 or 10 minutes later, it's like, oh yeah, hey. And my friend who introduced me to the oil said that, hey, how's your knee? And I go, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, just calmed it all the way down. So love Copaiba. So here is a graphic for you. All right. And okay, very good. So these are just some of the highlights that you get with Copaiba. It's aiding in the use of digestion. Again, I hope I don't get in trouble with any of these words, but injury or irritation helps the body with its immune system. Let's see. I haven't had any issues in regards to my skin using it, but then also you've got a very uplifting aroma. It brings out how it's like rich and woody. I never thought of that until I read this in this instance, but you've got that. And then also one of the thoughts too that I didn't know, how it's used in Native American recipes. And but again, you've got this wonderful oil that, again, when you're using it in regards to, especially when you're dealing with needing support for maybe your joints, that might be something you want to add to that. All right, so Copaiba, even though using it topically, you can use it also. It comes in a, oh my gosh, just that quick, the Vitality line, which means you can take it internally. And so you can use a couple of different ways. So you can use it by itself, or you can use it along with something else. All right. So this gives you a little bit of background. It's a resin or a gum, and they will tap it and they will use it. It's listed here, Brazil, and I believe also in Ecuador. You can also, it gives you a suggestion of blending it with frankincense, lavender, or stress away. So imagine if you're looking for maybe more focus. Frankincense is going to help you with that. It's really regarded as a brain oil. Well, you put a drop of frankincense on top of your head and you follow that up with a drop of Copaiba, and you probably could solve world peace. So I'm just saying, think about some of the things that it's actually going to oh my gosh, I'm losing my word, accentuate. Same thing with lavender. Lavender is regards your central nervous system. And then adding maybe a drop of the Copaiba will assist you with that as well. So, all right, let's see. What else do we have here? Anybody have any questions on Copaiba? Or have you used it or have you
No.
heard of it?
No,
Okay. So yes, definitely something to think about. And since we're at the end of our road, I'm going to show you roller blends that I found in regards to Copaiba. Oh yeah, Chris, tell me if I'm going to get away with this particular one. It shows a few words that I might get in trouble for. So a 10 milliliter bottle is basically, if you remember lip gloss back in the old days, glass lip gloss, 10 milliliter bottle. And here is your recipes, and that includes Copaiba. And you'll notice too, there is a teething blend.
You gotta share the screen. You gotta share the screen.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Somebody, there we go. Okay. There we go. So there is a teething blend on there as well. And let's see. I think what's missing is you're going to add a carrier oil. So my rule of thumb is, use a Young Living makes a V6 carrier oil. You can use that, or you can try a organic coconut oil, MCT oil or coconut oil. You can try that. So that is Copaiba. And I'm done.
Thank you. So we want to say thank you for anyone who's watching this later or with us on Facebook, but we're going to have some chats personally here with our Zoom friends. So bye to everybody on Facebook. See you next week. Give us a comment what you thought about the class.